morning, everybody, and
Too late.
welcome to episode 2 of the Racing for a Cause broadcast. I'm your host, Chris Legge, along with Rick Jr. Hammond. And tonight we have special guests. We have Rick Greenaway, and also joining us tonight, Andy Wilbur Lambert. Rick, how you doing tonight?
Not too bad, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Rick Greenaway. We're gonna just call you Greeny for the rest of this one. Greeny, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And Wilbur, how we doing, buddy?
Hey now, Chris, how you doing?
Doing all right. It's Friday night. It's been another great week at RFC. Just a couple of things to go over tonight. And I'm not gonna beat around the bush, boys. Dirt is coming. Let's talk a little bit about dirt, and then we're gonna
hold
get
on.
into. Oop,
Somebody said dirt.
dirt.
I missed the memo about dirt racing.
Yeah. It's coming. I think sometime in the next, I don't know, week. Less than
I
a
better
week.
get ready for that.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna talk about dirt tonight. We're gonna talk about the new truck series. We're gonna talk about the new K&N series, and then kind of get out of here. Kind of keep it short and sweet. We have a lot more things to talk about, and that's going to be coming up. We'll do that in future broadcasts, not tonight. So let's get started. Junior, we have your guys Tuesday nights in the street stocks. Let's talk about what happened there, and we'll get going.
Well, we hit the old track over there at Phoenix, 2008. Ryan Nolan brought the win. It was quite an interesting race. This week it did show a little bit of a lower car count, but it was still exciting. So we're looking forward to hitting five flags next week, and in USA, and then Rockingham's going to be another one that's going to be fun. That's coming up here in the next couple weeks. So it was a great race. Like I said, Ryan did win. He kept his car clean and did what he had to do. As of right now, points haven't really changed much. We still have Troy Radford up in first, Chris Mefford in second, Andy Lambert is in third. Travis Zudema has held on to the fourth place finish. Greeny has moved up 3 spots to number 5.
Woohoo!
And Rhett Tucker moved down to 6. Justin P. went down to 7th. Steve Meserly went down to 8th, and Patrick Smith is also tied for 8th place, but we'll consider him technically 9th. And Chip moved down to 10th place, so that's where we're sitting now. And just because I'm cool, I did move up 6 spots, even though my race wasn't all that great there.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about how good the race is, but it's how good the finish was, and unfortunately, or fortunately in your case, the lack of car count really helped you bump up in the point standings. So hopefully we get some more participation next week. You said 5 flags. That's a pretty nice track. It's fun to run. It should be really good with the street stocks. Hopefully some guys come out and get going on that, and bump Junior back down the standings where he belongs. He loves it. Hashtag Wreck Rick. That's what that series is about. So, it was a good race. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see all of it because of some computer issues. I really did enjoy it. Ryan and Troy were they were definitely in a class of their own. And I think if Troy hadn't just touched the wall a little bit, it may have been a different story. They were really beating on each other. It was good fun race to watch.
Well, that's what's kind of funny about Phoenix 2008 is, it's not the reconfigured one. Going through that dog leg, you don't have that big, long shortcut like you normally do. And, we did some practicing there. And one thing that we did learn for all the future people that want to run that track in the street stock specifically is when you get to that little yellow curb, do not hit it straight on, because of what is going to happen. It's going to rip out your oil pan and you're going to lose your engine. I know from practice. I know to stay off that. Coming into 3 and 4, you can get down into the apron if you know what you're doing. But as everybody knows, Phoenix is a warm place, and when those track temps get up there and the tires get worn, your chances of sliding up into the wall coming up to the start finish line are pretty high. But it was a good race, and I agree. Those guys, I mean, everybody really put on a good race. It was good, clean. We had a lot of fun. So, looking forward to finishing up the season here within the next few weeks, and starting with the next season. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and so that brings us into Wednesday night. Andy, I know you and I are, out of the four of us here, you and I were the ones that really know what kind of happened during that race. All in all, I think the late model still proved to be one of the best produced things that we're doing so far, and it really showed kind of in the uh, middle section of the race. I'll say really long green flag. Um, Definitely some action. I think we had 7 cautions for about 34 laps. But when you think about it, 34 laps, not that bad. 7 cautions on a small track, not that bad. Certainly some excitement. We had 5 different leaders, 4 lead changes. It it was pretty fast and furious. What was your takeaway on that, Andy?
Yeah, Lanier is a hard racetrack, single groove, tight little bull ring. Probably one of the hardest tracks besides like an Oxford Plains or something like that we go to. And it was definitely a good race. 15 cars showed up, which is a little down, but almost good sized field for that track just because it is so small. Um, and we did have that nice green flag run. There was some drama in there mixed in. So yeah, overall it was a good race, and it was good to see guys like Rowdy Johnston have a good run up. He finished in the 6th position, but he was running up in the top 3 most of the race. So even though the results didn't pan out for him, he actually had a good night, which was good to see. For me, on the other hand, just surviving Lanier was a good night for me. It's not one of my favorite places, but I always think we should have a place for the bull rings on the schedule, and it proved out to be true. We need to have bull rings like this, and that's what brings out the best in racers and the worst in racers, and a lot of tempers too.
Certainly, tempers have something to do with it, and I know there was a couple of incidents on the track. One guy blamed another later on in the race. By the looks of it, and I haven't gone back to review it. I should, but I haven't. It looks like an intentional dumping But at the end of the day, it's short track racing. It's no different than what you're going to see if you go watch it live. I do want to mention, it took 8 starts to do it, but we finally got a 2-time winner in our series in one Andrew Hill. So congratulations to Andrew Hill. Run down the official standings as of this point, keeping in mind there is a drop week at the end of the season. But right now, your number 1 position is held on to by Ryan Nolan. Scott Naslin is in 2nd, followed by Steve Baker, Andrew Hill, Philip Martin rounds out your top 5. Andy, you and I are 6 and 7. Chris Mefford 8. Greg Van Alst 9th, and Justin Pinnell, that rounds out your top 10. And certainly there's some drivers that need to be mentioned. Rowdy Johnson, as you said, a really nice race for him. Couldn't be happier actually with that. He had an outpatient surgery. His father had an outpatient surgery, so really nice that he was able to come out and do really well. So that pretty much wraps up the late models. So that was Wednesday night. We head into Thursday night, and Greeny, why don't you tell us about the truck race?
Well, the trucks we rolled into Phoenix, the 2008 track. I think actually we had our biggest field of the year Thursday night. We had 11 trucks take the green, and we actually got a 2-time winner also for the season. Jason Garrett picked up his 2nd win of the season. He just ran an unbelievable race. He he knew how to handle that track with that truck, and he was toying with the field. He could pull away if he wanted to. He could just let people suck into him, and then he could just make sure he had enough power to get away from them. So he ran a great race. The trucks, we've been consistent. We've been running about 8 to 10 trucks per race. It's difficult with the trucks because we're doing something different with them this season. Doing a lot of smaller races, but we've had 17 drivers take the green flag this year, so that's been nice. But it was a good race. Again, Jason Garrett won, and it was nice. It was pretty drama free. A couple cautions. Mostly it was just guys getting down on the apron and spinning out. Rick was a unfortunate victim of somebody getting down too low and spinning out, and Andy got caught up with lap traffic that hurt his night. Chris, you were pretty well incident free there, and you had a solid top 3 finish also, so that was good. Right now, currently in our points, we have Philip Martin is in first, followed by yourself, Chris. Andy's in third. Rick Jr. is in fourth, and Jason Garrett is in fifth. One thing I do want to recognize within our top 5, Jason Garrett, he has ran 3 races and he has 0 incident points. And yourself, Chris, you ran 4 and you only have 7. I think that just shows how well the driving is in the truck series, and just we're getting some good competition, but we're also getting courteous competition, which is nice to see out there.
Oh, absolutely. And at the end of the day, that's what Racing for a Cause was. I mean, in our first season of late model, we didn't even have a guy up in the booth because we didn't need to. Yes, there was some beating and banging. I'm not going to say there wasn't. But for the most part, guys behave themselves. They're very respectful on the track. If they cause something, they'd actually admit to it. I'm not going to say they gave up position because that didn't happen, but they'd admit to it, apologize, and move on. And the guy that was hurt in that altercation would usually just say, yeah, it's racing, and move on. And we need to get back to that because there's so much right now. I can't tell you how sick of it I am hearing, and quite honestly, I didn't want to get onto this tangent tonight, but I'm gonna just a little bit. That sarcastic thank you that comes over the intercom if somebody puts a bumper on you, I'm sorry, that doesn't need to be said. The fact of the matter is it's a short track, and sometimes if you only have one lane, you got to put a bumper on somebody, or maybe somebody's behind them putting a bumper on them, which is what caused them to put one on you. Don't get caught up in the heat of the moment. Watch the race back. If there was something that was really happened that was wrong, we'll take care of it. If it's just racing, it's just racing. And Rick, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, Greenie. You have anything else to add on the truck side?
No, I'm good. It's I'll be adding a lot more stuff on the truck side momentarily.
Okay. Hey, excellent. Can't wait to hear it. So that pretty much takes care of the races that happened this week. Junior, what do you think? What's a good wrap up?
Well, we have a lot of things that we've been working on. So, if this is the first podcast that you listen to, go back, listen to the first one, and then listen to the ones that are coming up. Chris and I talked. We figured, like I said in the last one, this is going to be the best way that we get out to everybody. So, we got some really good information coming, some really good, exciting news, including supposedly iRacing is getting dirt. I don't know, dirt confirmed. I'm a little nervous about this because they put it out last year on April 1st, which, as most U.S. people know, that is April Fool's. So they're releasing it the day before that. Maybe we're going to get one night of it, and it's going to go away come Thursday morning. you know, with a big just kidding. So,
Fooled you.
yeah.
That would be, I hadn't thought about that, but that would be actually pretty funny. That would be a year-long rib.
Well, the
Yeah.
best part about it was if you saw the memo that came out for the pre-sale on Monday, at the end of it, he ended it with "Happy early April Fools." So
That would
Why
be
not
funny.
check? It would be funny, looking on the forums at iRacing, which they do great service for us. There are a couple of simulators out there, but this is by far one of the best ones to date. And I love that they're doing this for us. It's gonna put out a whole another side of racing. I know a lot of us here don't know how to drive on dirt, but even though we don't know how to drive on dirt, we are super excited about it. And so just so we can hashtag dirt confirmed at RFC, that will definitely be happening.
And I'd just like to throw out there too. Yeah, okay. So a lot of us, most of us probably haven't driven on dirt. Well, you know what? As a result of the hype from dirt from iRacing, I'll tell you, I haven't watched a NASCAR race since Daytona. I've been watching dirt, and almost exclusively I've been looking for it on YouTube. I've been looking for it on TV. And I'll tell you, for me, that's about as pure racing as I've seen in a long time. Now, obviously, my short track up here in Vermont, Junior, Wilbur, we have the ability to go watch some really great short track racing, which I've been doing since literally 1 week old, um, at Thunder Road here in Vermont. It's a real pleasure to see some real nitty gritty, tight racing with some enthusiasm, and it's been a real eye opener to me. So I'm really excited for dirt, and I can't wait to go on with that.
I think it's exciting for us up here in the Northeast because the fact that we really don't have any dirt tracks up here. I mean, everything is asphalt, and mostly it has to do with the weather we have up here. But I mean, what I think there's one dirt track in New England.
Oh
Uh,
no, there's more. We have
Is there?
the Devil's Bowl.
yeah, we have Devil's
Yeah,
Bowl up
Devil's
here.
Bowl.
Bear Ridge,
Yeah,
and
That's right.
then you got Albany, Saratoga. So you got
Yeah, I mean, well, that's New York. I was thinking more like the Maine, Hampshire,
yeah.
Vermont,
But
Mass.
the fact is you're right. You really have to kind of search one out to find it. And honestly, I haven't. I live in Vermont. I'm a race car fan. Have been for my entire life. This year, I plan on making my first trip down to the Devil's Bowl to see what it's all about. Um, my son, who some of you may or may not know, he's the reason why I run the JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. He's the reason why I have that paint scheme on every single one of my cars. He said, "Dad, I'd really like to go see some of these guys down at the Devil's Bowl." And I said, "Okay, done deal." So we're going to be going down this summer. Greenaway, Greeny, I believe you're coming up to Devil's Bowl at some point this summer. That'll
Yeah,
probably be the race that we attend, just so I can meet you in person.
yeah, I think I'm coming up in July because, in all honesty, an asphalt series is going to the Devil's Bowl. They're going to be racing the asphalt track there on Saturday, and then Sunday, the trucks there are going to be racing the dirt. So I'm going to be going up there to watch that, and with that, I'm going to watch the other series. But I mean, the sad part is I know more of the dirt tracks down in the south than I do up here in the Northeast.
Yeah, yeah. So it just excuse me, it really has opened up my eyes to dirt. Obviously, I've known about it, and I just haven't followed it. Well, I'll tell you, that's a different story now. I'm truly following dirt at this point, almost exclusively. I did find myself the other night just checking in on points on NASCAR. But let's get back on track. Greeny, you mentioned trucks. That perfect segue right into what have you got planned for the truck season after week 13 of the season?
Well, the trucks are getting a total revamp. Um, we were running the circa 2013 trucks and racing them on all the short tracks we had. Well, that is no longer going to be the way. we're going to be going to the Camping World trucks. So drivers will be able to run either a Chevy or the Toyota. We're going to be running all the NASCAR tracks, except for one. But that'll be, I'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to be going to a chase format. The top 6 will race for a championship. We will run 3 races. We will eliminate 2, and the 4 remaining will race at the final race of the year for the championship. So that'll be that's something new that we're adding on. Let me see. I actually do have the dates and the tracks we're going to be running at next season. If you would like me to announce those, I'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, absolutely. And but before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to Connor Praise, who looks like he's actually listening to this live. He brought up a dirt track, Lebanon Valley Speedway, which I didn't know
Yes.
about. I admit it.
I forgot about that.
I'm gonna check into that one later. Thank you very much, Connor, for that little comment there. So Rick, getting right back into your trucks. Let's hear a schedule. We don't need dates, but how about a schedule? Maybe some laps and see what it's gonna look like.
We are going to start the season off at Daytona for 80 laps at Daytona. Then from there, we'll be heading over to the Phoenix. We're going to be running the new Phoenix for 100 laps. Then we'll take a jaunt up to Michigan for 100 laps. Then we'll head over to the Tricky Triangle for 100 laps over at Pocono. Then we'll be doing Indy for 100 laps. That's actually my birthday race. Just to throw that out there. Then to throw a little glitch in the system, we're going to head over to Watkins Glen and do a road course for 25 laps. We'll head to Chicagoland for 100. We'll go to Talladega for 80 laps. And then we're going to have our own little prelude to the dream, and we're going to go to Eldora. The format's going to be announced. I'm waiting to find out if I can do it truly like a dirt race and do races and go that way. So just bear with me on that. I'm waiting to see how they're going to format dirt in regards to races and stuff like that to be able to announce how I'm going to be truly doing the Eldora race. And then the final race before we head into the chase is going to be Bristol for 100 laps. Then when the first race of the chase is going to be Atlanta, 100 laps. Then we'll be going to Vegas for 100 laps, Texas for 100 laps, and then we will end the season in Homestead for a 150-lap season-ending race.
I'll tell you what, a lot of those tracks sound good, but the one that really caught my attention, a road race at Racing for a Cause? Are you kidding me?
Trucks go to Watkins Glen. Every series races Watkins Glen. So I feel if you're going to be racing these type of trucks, any type of the Premier Series vehicles, you got to be able to run a road course. So we're going to go hit a road course. We're going to Watkins Glen.
That's going to be exciting. If I don't run any other race in that season, which I will, that one I will run. Absolutely, without doubt. I know that I'm probably going to be broadcasting most of those races, but as I told you earlier today, but I'm racing that one. I will put that baby out, tape delayed if I have to. I'm racing a road course. So, go ahead.
I just wanted to bring something different to the truck series. I wanted to be able to touch every aspect of the Craftsman Truck Series, and I think I hit every aspect of what they race in a condensed version. So I'm looking forward to the schedule. I think it's a great schedule. I think it's going to be a fun schedule that people can actually sit there and say, this is going to be a fun season.
I think that'll do it, without a doubt. All right, so that's trucks. That's pretty impressive, and I think it can only be followed up really by the much anticipated often talked about, but kind of left out of the actual answers. K&N series that we are planning on running, and one of the guys that's going to be putting that on is Andy Lambert. Andy, tell us about K&N.
Well, the new K&N Throwback Cup Series, and we're going to call it the Throwback Cup Series because we are basing it off from mid-90s NASCAR point system, and we're also using the 1997 schedule. Even though we're keeping it uniform to the rest of the leagues with only 14 weeks, we will do the first 14 races of the 97 schedule, and then when season 2 comes out, we'll pick up where that left off. But for the first season, season 1, we're going to start off at Daytona, and then at the end of the year, we'll end at Michigan because that was the 14th race. We did cut out Sonoma. We thought Sonoma would be kind of a wrench in the gears. We weren't too sure about that, and to help fit our scheduling template, we just decided we cut that out, unlike the Truck Series. But when season 2 picks up and we have the second half of the season, we probably would add Watkins Glen, but that's for season 2.
Hey, wake up.
The other thing I'd like to say about the Throwback Cup Series, and that's pretty much what we're calling it, is that we encourage guys to run throwback paint schemes. It's going to make it different from all the other K&N leagues that are out there. We want guys to run, classic Cup schemes or Busch Series schemes, anything retro. Doesn't matter what year. Just get a retro scheme, and then you can either run your sponsor on it or your cause, which would be the best thing, or you could just run, the actual sponsor that was on it. Also, to set the series apart, the names of the races will be the actual names that were used in 1997. So, for instance, race number 2 at Rockingham will be the GM Goodwrench 400. Although we are not running the full distance, for example, Rockingham, we're doing 125 laps, but it'll still have the name of the event. We are also talking about, and this is something that I don't think any league is doing. Patrick and I, Patrick Smith, who is also helping me run this league, we're also talking about duplicating the weather from the actual event. So, for example, when we go to Atlanta, we would run the actual temperature, everything right down to the right down to the actual degrees and cloud cover of that race that day. So we're working on that to see if that's going to be possible, but that's something we're looking into to also set this series apart from other series.
That sounds great. And do you have a schedule locked down yet?
Yes, we do. I can give that to you.
Yeah, that would be great. Just let everybody know what you're planning on as far as, well, I guess if we wanted to look it up, we could, right? But let's hear what the first part of the season is going to sound like.
Well, season 1 is going to be 14 weeks. That's what all the seasons for Racing for a Cause are, as far as I know, are going to be 14 weeks. We're all going to start at the same time, and we're all going to crown our champions at the same time. That being said, we're only having 13 races, and here's the reason why. On Monday, July 3rd, that's usually a night where people are gone to fireworks, the 3rd and the 4th.
Hey, wake up.
I know me personally, I'm always gone to Thunder Road for fireworks on the 3rd, or we'll be in the pits in some manner. So we're off July 3rd, and what we're thinking about doing then is running a non-points firecracker 400 type thing at Daytona for guys who are home that aren't out celebrating the 4th of July, to give them something to do. So I'll run down the schedule. Starts off when a relaunch happens on May 15th with the Daytona 500. That'll be 75 laps. Then we go to Rockingham. That'll be 125 laps. Race 3 at Richmond. That'll be 150 laps. And then we go to Atlanta, 75 laps. Darlington is race number 5 for 125 laps. And then we head to Texas. This is the inaugural race at Texas in 1997. The Interstate Batteries 500 will be going there for 100 laps. Race number 7 will be at Bristol, Thunder Valley for the Food City 500. That'll be 150 laps. And then week number 8 is the off week I was talking about, July 3rd. And then week number 9, we're headed to Martinsville, the Paperclip for the Goodies 500 for 150 laps. Race 10 we're heading to Talladega for the Winston 500.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good run right there.
Yeah, and then we're down to the last 4 races. The Coca-Cola 600 on July 24th for 100 laps. That would be one of the few night races because in 1997 they didn't have a lot of night races, not like they do now. So after the Coke 600, we head to Dover for the Miller 500, and then we go to Pocono for the Pocono 500, and then we'll end our season and crown our champion week 14 with the Miller 400 at Michigan International Speedway.
You know, this is one series that a lot of people are interested in, and what you and Patrick are doing, dude, it's going to be awesome. I mean, we're doing things that are setting ourselves, but as you know me as a racer, I dislike short track racing. To get on these tracks with this whole format, this brings me back to when I was old enough to actually understand what racing was kind of about. I mean, it started way back for me when I was about, I don't know, 5, 6 years old when I was racing or visiting my uncle with my dad for a race. And, my dad's like, you got to pick a car. Obviously I gravitated towards that cool black number 3 car, which will be kind of my paint scheme for this series. So I'm super excited about this, dude. And, I kind of wish that the Daytona 500 was 500 miles, obviously, because you know how I am. I'm mental like that. But this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I expect there'll be several versions of Earnhardt's paint schemes throughout the years in the series. Yeah, and the reason why we didn't go with the full distance is just because we wanted to keep in kind of with the rest of the league, where you could come in and race and not have to be going to bed at 1 in the morning. So it's basically we should be in and out within 2 hours, and we'll just click them off from there. So you can get in, run your race, get your fix, and then you'll be good till Wednesday night when the late models start up.
This is a car that's been it's widely used now, but when I first started iRacing, a lot of people didn't gravitate towards the Can-Am car, and honestly, I think it's one of the funnest cars to drive. You can beat on it a little bit, and it doesn't just break, and it's fun to drive. I mean, nothing against the Chevy SS or the car of tank is what I call it, the car of tomorrow. It's gonna be cool, and I understand that it right now it's hard to do, sit here for 3-4 hours to race, and that was just kind of a jab because how much I love Daytona and Talladega and stuff, but no, this is one series, and then I'm obviously gonna race them all probably, but the late models. No offense to those guys over there, but I'm not a short track racer, and I'm super excited about bringing these cars. And you guys are doing them on what, Monday night still?
Yep, Monday nights. We're still kind of debating on the time. We might start a little earlier, and then the 9 o'clock start time, but we're not. That's not down and concrete yet. We're talking about maybe starting with an 8:30 start time, so it'll either be 8:30 or 9 o'clock. But yeah, it'll be Monday nights.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean we're gearing up, so we got Monday nights we're gonna have the K&N series. We take Tuesday off, as of now. Wednesday night we're moving into the late models. You got Friday night trucks, and Chris has a little something to talk about there on Saturdays, and I'll continue on after he's done with that.
Yeah, so it's no real surprise. Dirt's coming, and unfortunately, we are running out of nights. I guess it's a good and bad thing. We've got Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays all filled up. That leaves us only one option. Saturday night, it's going to go dirt. I don't think it's just going to go dirt. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to run a dirt race. And the first season is going to be no points. We've all got to learn how to do it. I figure it's a safe place to do it inside of a league. We can all try and get tips and help from each other. And it won't kill our I rating. It won't kill our SR. So no worries there. This is going to be the place to learn how to dirt race. So we're going to run a full season, no points, no nothing, just for fun. We're not going to care about accidents. We're not going to care about any of that. And so that's race one of that night. Now, later on in the night, we're probably going to do something else. Rick, Junior?
Yep. I am moving the Street Stock series over to Saturday nights. Also, hopefully attendance stays kind of where it's at now or grows a little bit. But we are going to do Saturday nights. The thing that's going to be nice about it is Street Stocks are going to stay to the hour block that we're at now. And then right after that, 5-10 minutes after that, boom, we could jump into a dirt race so we can get the serious stuff done, and then we can party a little bit and blow off some steam, have some fun. So the Street Stocks are moving over to the Saturday nights. Still got to deal with the time stuff, but it's probably, might still stay right around the 9 o'clock area. That way people with kids and stuff can, help put them down and whatnot, and then come down and do some racing with us. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. One thing I am thinking about doing for a little while anyway is, the Street Stocks are still going to stay on the short track side. Kind of like what we're doing with this season. It's been really good with us. It's going to help the guys that are running the late models if they come in. I know the cars aren't the same, but they can play around on the track a little bit more, get a little bit more seat time. But once the 14-week season is done and we move into the next season, I am thinking of taking the Street Stocks and putting them on the side burner for another 14 weeks and running the SK Modifieds, just to give us a little bit more variety of vehicles that we're driving. Gives a chance for the people that really like the Modifieds. I know a few months back, been quite a while now, but I put up a poll about Modifieds and whatnot, and a lot of guys gravitated towards that car with the SK Modifieds. So that's something that is still being thought about. I'm going to put it out to the members just with a poll just to see what you guys really think about it, and if I can see enough interest into it, that's what we'll be doing. So we'll do 14 weeks of Street Stock. The next 14-week season will be in the SK Modified. Then we go back to the Street Stock, so forth and so on, until everybody gets bored with those, and we'll at that time we'll deal with it then. But I think those are going to be two really good cars that a lot of people have. A lot of people show interest in racing, so I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to go in, do a serious race for an hour, and then hop in over to Chris's dirt side. That's one thing I was personally worried about is the way that iRacing is doing it. For those that don't know, as of right now, with the release of dirt, your regular oval, SR, and IR is going to be affected. They're not going to be rolling out the dirt license right off the bat. So I was, I'm nervous about that. I mean, obviously I want to race it. It's something new. It's something that's going to refresh everybody's interest into iRacing, and hopefully bring more people into the league to grow this family that we have. But the thing I was worried about is I really don't want to end up back in rookie Street Stocks, because I know that's where I'll end up if I start doing official racing.
Yeah, and that's probably a pretty big concern for everybody. I know that they've said that they are going to kind of mess with the incident points, how they're distributed in dirt racing, but, let's be honest. Dirt racing, by its very nature, you're going to be front fender to rear fender, you're going to be tight into the corners. There's probably going to be something that happens in that time frame. But it is what it is, and we're going to figure it out. So it sounds like we're going to have a couple of different races on Saturday night. It's going to be a really nice Saturday night shootout, if you will, kind of like we have at our short tracks at home. So it's getting close to the time where we're going to call it done. There's one more thing that we want to bring up, a little tease, if you will. Sorry about that, my computer's going crazy. A little tease, if you will. We're gonna call it Racing for a Cause Reboot. So in order for us to get everything together, there's got to be a couple of changes, and the one change we're going to talk about tonight, I'm going to let Rick take. Go ahead, Rick.
Before we get into that, I want to let guys know what's going to be happening with dirt before we do it. One of the big things is we're probably going to stick to the Street Stock, the Legend car, and the truck to begin with. It's going to be kind of a good expense for members to buy, 5 pieces of content all at one. Myself personally, I am really looking forward to the Legends car. I mean, I love Dale Earnhardt. I love Earnhardt history, and just seeing Ralph in that number 8 Go or Blow car, Legends car. I'm pretty excited about that. Um, so the reboot. Everyone's asking. A lot of people are, what's going on with Racing for a Cause. We're going to be changing a few things, and Chris never answered my thing. There's a lot of different things that are going to be happening with the reboot.
I was
And if Chris,
referring to the week's schedule.
okay, so the week schedule. One thing that's going to happen is we're going to be doing a reboot, and this is going to probably be in the next podcast, which will be a little late. It's not going to be on a Friday or Saturday night due to Chris being out of town for business purposes. But what's going to happen is the street stocks and the truck series is going to be finishing up the week of the late models. So those 2 seasons are going to be cut a little bit short, just for the purpose of having everything kind of on the same time frame of when things are going to happen. We haven't really discussed what we're doing for weeks off in between the 2 seasons per se, I guess you want to call it. I know for the first season we took 2 weeks off. That's because we rolled out the website. We were dealing with getting rid of Discord and getting TeamSpeak set up. So I don't know if we're going to be taking that 2 weeks off or if we're going to roll it into that, the next week or take a week off. So once we figure that out, we'll definitely let everybody know. But that's what's going to be happening. I know personally for me, the Street Stock series, the reason why I started that was just to get fun back into the racing. All the business was being done on Wednesday nights, and I wanted to bring something more for the members that are around, on another night. So Tuesday nights, we kind of just, we threw this in. So, it was meant to be a fun series. I wasn't even going to be dealing with points really. And I know when we brought Greeny on board, he wanted to do his truck thing, and we gave it a shot. Obviously, attendance is a little low, so we just figured that it's going to be kind of a good time to end the seasons all at the same week, and then we can work into the whole reboot. And as the weeks come on, we got 5 weeks left. As the weeks go on, you're going to be getting more and more information until it happens. And then once that happens, we're doing this to better the league for everybody. So no worries, nobody's going anywhere. I know, I threw up kind of a stupid post there a few weeks back that I'm stepping down as, vice president. And really that was just to, so I could concentrate more on what we need to do, find the issues that we're having, and find the best way to take care of it to make this league, a family, and a place where people want to come and race and have fun. So that's what's going on.
All right. So with that, I guess we'll just go right into final thoughts. Wilbur, I'm going to start with you. Andy, you got any final thoughts for tonight?
Yeah, I'm just excited to get through these next 5 weeks, I think it is, for the late models, and start fresh, reboot, and bring on some new exciting things that are unique just to Racing for a Cause that I don't think any other leagues have, with the K&N series and the trucks going to Dirt and Watkins Glen, and the late models getting their kind of reboot and refresh. I think we're going to have an exciting reboot in 5 or 6 weeks or whatever it is coming up. And that's it.
All right. And Greeny, you have anything to pitch out there one last time?
I want to remind the members that Sunday I'm going to be hosting a truck race with the newer trucks at Charlotte, 9 o'clock. Please be there because I need as many trucks as possible to be able to do some filming. The truck series right now that we're running is open to everybody. So if you're available on a Thursday night and you're just looking to have a little fun, blow off some steam, come race your local short track with us.
All right. And Junior, you have anything left?
My tank is full, man. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. As a league, we went through some rough patches, and without the core members that we have here, and we have a lot of great guys here. I named them all into a Facebook post as a kind of a shameless plug. You guys are what make Racing for a Cause. The changes that we're making is to hopefully get better. I know, maybe Saturday nights might not be the best time to do stuff. That's stuff that we'll figure out as time goes on. And, we're always open for suggestions. So, throw those into us. And, obviously we're not going to change everything on the whim of just one person, but, if we can come to some kind of consensus, that's going to happen. But I really want to, let you guys, the drivers, the members, the fans of Racing for a Cause know that we really, really appreciate, hanging with us, sticking by us, helping us make this league what it is, today and what it's going to be in the future. It's just going to get better. I want to let the members know that there are some changes that are, that have happened or that you heard about tonight that are going to be happening. I think Greeny just fell out of his chair. Yep, he did.
Yeah, I'm
He's all right though.
I'm all right.
But so if don't feel obligated to make every series. We understand that family comes first here. We want you to spend time with your family, but we are giving you the option to race these times. If you have friends that you race with, neither real life or just friends on iRacing, throw them an invite over here. Let them know what we're doing. And, obviously, just like we did with you, we're going to welcome you all with open arms. And we're just going to make this place bigger and better and continue on.
That sounds great. So for tonight, I guess what we're going to do is call it a night. Probably ran... actually, we're doing okay on time, 48 minutes. We're going to try and keep these to an hour or less every time. Tune in next week. Next week is not going to be on the weekend, as Rick said. I have someplace I have to go for work for a few days, and I won't be back until later on Sunday. So podcast next week won't happen until at least Sunday night. But until then, really do appreciate you all for coming out and listening to this. We have a lot more information that we have to share with you. This was just the very tip of the iceberg for what's coming down the pipe here at Racing for a Cause. And I guess that's it. Have a great night, everybody.
I can't remember anything. Can't tell if this is true or dream. Deep down inside I feel the scream. This terrible silence stops in there. Now that the war is through with me, I'm waking up, I cannot see that there's not much left of me. Nothing is real but pain now.